Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Apex Investor. This is the update for Tuesday/Wednesday, September 7 to 8. We have breaking news regarding a new interview that was posted regarding metamaterials and nanotech. It is getting a lot of buzz, and we're going to listen to it together. It is an update from George Palikaras and Ken Rice from Nanotech. So let's listen to that together. I've got an image as well so we can see where we are in the recording. Okay, so this interview is roughly 20, 25, 26 minutes. So we're going to listen to that right away. I'm going to play it starting now. I'm going to highlight where we are in the interview.
Welcome, everyone. This is Jeff Cohn with the Wall Street Resource. Joining me is Dr. George Palikaras, CEO of MetaMaterials, and Ken Rice, CFO. Also joining is Troy Bullock, CEO of Nanotech Securities, which is in the process of being acquired by Meta. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
MetaMaterials was just on about a month ago, but the acquisition of Nanotech could possibly be a game changer. So here we are for more clarity. But first, for those not familiar with MetaMaterials, could you please just give us a quick overview of the company?
So Meta is the first metamaterial company to be listed on NASDAQ. We are an advanced materials, smart materials, nanocomposites company specializing in highly technologically advanced functional films. We use our technology to block light, enhance light, bend light, and other forms of energy such as electricity, thermal energy, even acoustics.
Okay. So you guys were on, just a bit ago, and so people can go back and listen to that first one to get a thorough understanding of the company. But today I want to talk about, why we're back so soon. You guys have recently made an acquisition, and it sounds like it might be a game changer for you, or at least speed things up quite a bit. Can you elaborate?
Sure. So when we were on last time, we talked about a strategy post the listing on NASDAQ that anticipated us growing our production capability from what we call wafer scale production to high volume roll-to-roll production. And we were working on investing the capital we needed to build our own in-house capability to build roll-to-roll capability at least at pilot scale. We've known the company's known Nanotech for going over 5 years now, and Nanotech will enable us at a fundamental level, in addition to all of the technological and market value they bring. They will enable us to leapfrog our production capability from production measured in a few 100,000 square meters per year to immediately 7 million square meters, and we're planning to double that. So what it does is accelerates and de-risks our production scale up in a very cost-efficient and market-efficient way. And in addition, what it does, the acquisition allows us to combine complementary technologies and human resources that expand the verticals that we're in, and Troy can talk to the verticals that Nanotech is in, and at the same time add another level of de-risking by virtue of the fact that Nanotech has facilities and an assembled workforce that is already very well skilled and has lots of experience running roll-to-roll equipment and doing the sorts of design work that we need to have done.
Okay. And when do you anticipate closing?
We're anticipating closing in early October.
Okay. And is this going to change the verticals you were targeting, or is it going to add to it, or where do you stand there?
Troy, why don't you talk about what Nanotech does today?
Sure. No, thank you. So I think in short, we're hoping to bring a couple new verticals to the many verticals that Meta is already focused on. Just just briefly on what we do is Nanotech's developed a nanotechnology platform. We refer to it as Color Optic. And that platform, in very simple terms, we're taking billions and billions of tiny little holes that we pattern, and the way that we pattern these holes in such a way that they can reflect light or play with the light in various forms, that we can create very vibrant, high-definition imagery. And that imagery can be used to create multiple different colors, full facial images. We can have it transition from one image to another. There can be movement, there can be depth, and all of these effects are being designed and produced just off of holes. There's no inks or dyes or anything like that. Again, it's just a patterning of nanostructures. And from that, we've gone much beyond just the ability to produce those in a lab, but we produce them in high volume in our own purpose-built, high-secure production facility. And this is a 100,000 square foot facility, of which 35,000 is being occupied today. And with the Meta transaction, we're looking forward to expanding into some of the other space to increase our capacity. The markets, though, that we're focused on is really two at this point in time. The one market is the government and banknote market, and so using these images as security features to go on bank currency, to go on passports, to go on authenticating high secure documents for governments. And then the other market is in the brand protection space. We recently used our imagery to secure the UEFA World Soccer tickets in the Euro Cup, and have done many things like that with brands around the world to ensure you're buying authentic products through a high secure image that's on there. So what's really great about what we're doing is we're into the revenue producing stage already. We've got good growth prospects, and it's a really nice fit with Meta in able to take their vast volume of technology in the markets that they're pursuing and bring our manufacturing capability to that. It creates a lot of future opportunities for us.
Okay. And Troy,
and I can
in terms of...
add one more
Go
thing,
ahead.
if I may.
Sure.
So Meta's M&A strategy is focused on building scale and reducing production costs while we enhance our metamaterials manufacturing capabilities. Now, when we look at market reach into new applications and industries, we had actually some IP in the industry that Troy's company is currently a leader. For example, banknote security features and other things. However, we never took that vertical forward. It's a very difficult vertical to break into and, pardon the pun, basically create an opportunity for yourself, whether it's a central bank or something else similar. A lot of security, and as you will see, Nanotech has been spending a significant amount of time and capital to become that leader and hold that position. So with our IP strategy and our technology, we're hoping to help each other, NTS with their manufacturing capabilities, Meta with our IP that further strengthens and solidifies Nanotech's technology for the future.
Gotcha. And so you answered part of my question that I was about to ask. So for Nanotech, so how do you guys fit in the competitive landscape for the banknotes and also for brand protection?
Yeah. So in the government and banknote market, that market on an annual basis, there's about 175 billion banknotes produced each year. And those banknotes are really coming from or being printed, if you will, in a couple of different fashions. The central banks themselves are producing some of them, But that only represents a small percentage of it. There's only about 30 or so central banks that are actually producing their own banknotes. The balance of them are coming from what's referred to in the industry as commercial print works. And there's a handful of 4 or 5 of those, Delarue, Crane Currency, G&D, etc., that we have good relationships with. And we would sell our security features to them as customers to sell on to end central banks. At the same time, we've also got a direct approach as well. We've been fortunate enough that one of the most prominent central banks in the world, we refer to it sort of as the top 10 central bank, but for confidentiality purposes, we can't say who that is. They've signed a development contract with us, and that was about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was for, I speak in Canadian dollars because we're a Canadian-listed pump company, but for approximately $30 million, to which we're just in the process now of completing that, and we expect actually in very short order to be signing a stage 2 to that contract. And we expect it to be significantly larger and for multi-years as well. And we've announced publicly that we expect that to happen in the next number of weeks. So we're excited about that because we've now got working in directly with a central bank, designing a security feature for their banknote. And given that it's one of the most prominent in the world, it really will bring us pull through to the other central banks. And so our focus in the government market is really both direct with central banks and with these commercial print works. In the brand protection space, we're really trying to take a channel strategy where we're working with conversion partners, largely in the United States at this stage, where we can sell them film, bulk film, and then they can convert it into labels and other devices to their existing customer base.
Okay. And in terms of the manufacturing capabilities you're bringing to Meta, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so our focus to date has been obviously on security features and films. And so our production facility has been designed as a high secure facility. As you can imagine, producing a security feature for a banknote isn't done in a normal manufacturing environment. So we've got a high secure facility that's, I always describe it as like airport access to get into it. And we've got decades of experience. A lot of the people that are working in our facility came originally actually from the Bank of Canada, and so have been producing security features for a long time. And so we've got, second to none, if you will, experience in doing that manufacturing. What's very interesting, though, is as George will describe, their technology is similar in the sense that, to a large extent, if you take it to a basic level, we're producing structures and we're applying them to films that have multiple different purposes. Ours happen to reflect light in a way to create visual images, and that's what we've been focusing on. But whether that's used for 5G improvement or whether that's used for solar or laser protection, the essence of it is very similar in that structures being applied to films and produced in high volumes at a reasonable cost. And that's really what we're quite good at in our Thurso production facility. So although we haven't done direct work on the same markets that they're working on, the processes are going to be very similar.
Okay. And then Troy, what made you most excited about Meta being an acquirer of your company?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. One of the things that helps us out. So first of all, just on Nanotech, we're actually a publicly listed company in Canada on the TSX Venture Exchange. We also trade on the OTCQX, and one of our two challenges is we've had a lot of opportunity with this government contract and with that needing to expand our production facility. And the two challenges that investors have seen with us, and we've known has been challenges, is as a small company in Canada, it's hard to get liquidity so investors can get in, but it's also hard to have access to capital. And with this transaction for us, it helps us out because Meta is very well financed, and they can bring capital, which helps us expand our production facility to help us accelerate our growth plans. But at the same time, the other thing that's really important to us is partnering with somebody that has a significant amount of technology, because we've got certain capabilities and strengths, and by partnering with somebody that's kind of outside of our industry, it really diversifies our business. So we're not just in one or two markets anymore. We have opportunity to get into many markets. And our team of, whether it's salespeople, product people, development people, manufacturing people, have a lot of experience. And, I think, as Ken and George and I have spoken over the last number of months as we went through this process, that lining the two teams up together is it's a beautiful fit amongst, really bringing people with certain experiences together that allow us to go after many different markets. And for us, we could have perhaps looked at being acquired by somebody from the banknote space, but I think this really gives us much more opportunity to go after more markets with more technology, and the fit amongst the parties is just terrific.
Okay, I'm just going to pause it there for a moment. Something came to mind when the CEO of Nanotech was talking about a lot of their current employees come from the Central Bank of Canada. I've been mentioning often regarding metamaterials connections, not speculating or theorizing or hypothesizing about possible connections. They actually, real connections that they have with the federal government, both in the US and Canada and other places as well. They've signed contracts with some of the biggest aerospace, aviation, and you could say defense related companies, such as Boeing. Northrop Grumman is not one yet, but Lockheed Martin is, and Airbus is one as well. So this relationship that they have with federal governments, or I should just say big governments, specifically North American ones, is only going to go deeper as a result of this acquisition of Nanotech. And because they print money, they print one of the most secure currencies on the planet, American, Canadian, or in any case, they can print many kinds of currency. So let's continue listening. I just wanted to mention that relationship is very deep. So when you're looking at short sellers, hedge funds who are going short on this company, that's what they're up against. They're up against a company that is printing currency that is very much deep in the governments of the world. And when it comes to currency, that's what drives the economy. That's what makes the world go round, as they say. Okay, going to continue on. We have about 12 minutes left.
And on the Meta side, what expedites everything for you guys? Is it equipment that's got long lead times to get, or what are you getting that's expediting things?
Go ahead, George.
Sure. So a critical step in commercializing metamaterials is the ability to reliably produce precise patterns repeatably over large volumes of output. Nanotech has extensive expertise in making these nanostructures for one of the hardest industries there is. So when you have something that's visual, like a banknote feature that's a hologram at the end of the day, there is a subjective quality control, not just something that functions, but something that's visually stunning. So collectively, the team of Nanotech has more than 75 years of nanotech research and production experience in this high-volume roll-to-roll web processing, including high-precision coatings. So all of this has made us very excited because we are taking into consideration that Nanotech owns an 11-acre site, 105,000 square foot building in Thurso, Quebec, where you can basically currently occupying, I think, 35,000 square feet in the security building. However, with Meta's plans to support the expansion of Nanotech, we're looking at doubling the production to about 15 million square meters over the next 12 to 24 months. And that leaves another 55,000 square foot of future expansion area that's currently being used as a warehouse space. So equipment, people, and during COVID, the entire supply chain of the semiconductor industry has been put not only on hold, but it has suffered a great deal in multiple industries. So being able to leverage the lithography capabilities, the team, and the in-house support we have from Meta and MTS together allows us to significantly increase capacity for new customer engagements and shorten the material selection programs for each engagement. That's basically a shorter path to revenue, a lower cost, which yields higher margins. So for that reason, I think we tick every single box with this acquisition.
Very good. Now, with the acquisition, does that change the order or sequence of verticals and markets that Meta was going to go after?
I don't think so. I think it basically keeps us on the same path. It expands our ability in a couple of verticals on both sides, on NTS's side and on our side. But we're still going to focus, as we talked about in the last call, on 5G and consumer electronics. What it is going to help us do a little bit more is also accelerate the medical product development efforts that we talked about in the last call as well.
So what should be the first couple of verticals?
I would say the first couple verticals are the ones that are closest in right now. Nanotech, as Troy already said, is already in the revenue-producing space in the banknote security and brand security. We are very close to revenue-producing in 5G and getting there equally quickly now in some elements of the consumer electronics space, and medical is not far behind now.
So are you going to have to, companies are generally chasing sales or chasing manufacturing. With manufacturing speeding up, are you going to have to expedite a sales force, or is that coming with the acquisition?
So one of the exciting things is that, the entire team of NTS is joining forces with Meta. At the end of the acquisition, we should be in around 120 to 140 people in the whole team globally. Obviously, we're expanding. The team has gaps, and one of the catalysts that we have started executing on is hiring some very high-quality industry experts that really are coming on board for business development and sales. Each vertical has its own path to success, its own sales cycles, and we feel that, as you will see over the next few months, some incredible talent is joining our team at Meta. On the banknote security space, I feel that NTS's sales force is very capable. We are hoping to help them expand geographically. And within our side, aerospace, medical, automotive, there will be some significant hires that will allow us to accelerate and help us develop our business, given that they have roll-to-roll production capabilities, new large space for production that helps customers come to the table with a different mindset.
Okay. And then how soon could we expect revenue?
We have revenue now. It's a question of character and characterization. On a post-merger basis, as Troy mentioned, Nanotech is already generating revenue, and that will continue and grow. We are expecting revenues, especially in 2022 and beyond, from the verticals that we just spoke about. And so I think it's not a question of when we can expect revenues, it's a question of pace. And the pace in our revenue generating capability was to a very large extent initially governed by sort of skepticism on the part of customers when they looked at us and said, how are you going to be able to produce the volumes that we need? Well, that skepticism is now waning very rapidly.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't trying to get you into a forward-looking statement so much as I was trying to get an idea of how much this acquisition expedites things.
Well,
I think what this acquisition does, it creates an incredible support of our business model and further expands the profit margin, the gross margin, and the profit margin on a per square meter basis. And that should be a very exciting thing for all of our investors. In the last shareholder letter, I wrote, we explained there that our retail price per square meter will be in the range of $300 to $450 for the metamaterial side of the products. Given the fact that NTS has already reached a certain critical point in their cost model, we can expect very high gross margins as a result of that.
And it sounds like you'll now have the capacity to scale these initial verticals. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Should we anticipate additional acquisitions, or are they needed?
George?
What I can say here is that we are quite aggressive in the marketplace. We know that we can create acceleration in the verticals that we care about. And because our technology is horizontal, there is a path to success that is organic, and then there's another path to success that's inorganic. If the market is favorable from a capital markets perspective and we continue to have some favorable, let's say, conditions, we would be open to scaling at a faster, accelerated pace through both organic and inorganic means.
Okay. And so I believe you said you anticipate closing in October. What are some of the other milestones that we should look for?
Another good question. We've been so focused on getting the Torchlight deal behind us, and now this one. I would say between now and the end of the year, the milestones are all about making sure that we have a very successful closing and kickoff of an integration process with NTS. And as George said, we are constantly looking at both organic growth tools and inorganic growth tools, and there are a number of them out there. I think the other thing we want to do is continue to pursue and ensure that we go into 2022 with a strong pipeline of business that enables us to grow in the verticals that we're already focused on.
Okay. Anything that I failed to ask that you wish we would have talked about, or any closing remarks you want to leave us with?
George, Troy?
Well, maybe I can say something about the industry as a whole.
Sure.
What excites me is that Lux Research and a few other analysts out there that cover metamaterials, they show that the global metamaterial market is projected to reach about $10.7 billion by 2030. In order to get a piece of that pie, we are making serious investments in building up capacity, a team to deliver our unique functional materials. The challenge for this industry has always been commercialization, And I feel that we were the first ones to list on the NASDAQ, and now we are fast advancing in becoming the first ones to scale metamaterials. It's a very exciting time.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
So that was the excuse me. That was the interview. I personally feel in my heart of hearts that was a lot better than the quarterly. There is so much going on in this interview. So many potential breakouts. Just looking at the fact that this acquisition of Nanotech, if this were any other company, such as Apple or Tesla, a bigger name, this acquisition alone brings their stock up probably double. So this bides very well for the future of metamaterials, because just this acquisition, simply this acquisition of Nanotech alone is such a strong indicator, strong, it's going to really help their revenue. It's one of those organic kind of growing strategies that was mentioned, was alluded to in this interview. Not only that, but you're looking at October. We have a solid date, or maybe not an exact date, but at least a somewhat of a range of a date. We have October being put forward as the general time frame for this acquisition to wrap up, this acquisition of Nanotech, for all of that to be processed. And then they were alluding to the end of this year, so December 2021, we're going to see, I think, a dramatic shift in the revenue and seeing this company really grow. And we could see it grow exponentially. There's so much positive developments going on with metamaterials. I think we really struck gold with this company. I'm kind of saying this in advance, but looking at all the products in the woodwork, I mean, you take into consideration the AV market, automotive, that alone is hundreds of millions of dollars, possibly billions of dollars just in that sector alone. And then you're telling me they also do medical, the potential for the medical industry there, that's probably another billion. And then you're looking at security applications, military defense, and so on. That's billions, probably even trillions. And then you're looking at nanotech with their printing of money, and how currencies have that very much a anti-counterfeit technology. That alone is literally, I mean, that's money. That's money in and of itself. And they have, as was mentioned in the interview, they have a contract with one of the biggest, I believe, central banks or governments, and that's worth millions upon millions. So when you add all those factors together, not even, notwithstanding George Palikaras being the founder, CEO, and very much a master of his domain, he is very competent and probably overqualified in many ways. He's really a maverick, a trendsetter. He's a visionary by every definition. We have a very forward-thinking and a very revolutionary kind of mind here in George Palikaras, and even you could hear in the way and the things that the Nanotech, I think that's the CEO of Nanotech, who is also speaking as well, and he seems very competent and very much a master of his respective domain. So that's all for today. Just wanted to cover this interview. It was 26 minutes. I wanted to comment on it as well as to what this all means, because it is very important to not just listen to the interview, but kind of put it into perspective for retail investors. What does this mean for the company? Is this good? Is this bad? And in realistic terms, is this all just a bunch of talk just to hype us all up? No, it's not just talk. I think we're going to see the fruits of this at the end of the year and in the years to come. But within the next 1 to 2 years, we're going to see these things that they were talking about in this presentation really manifest themselves in the real world in terms of not only their quarterly profits, but their impact on the world at large. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for all your support. I appreciate it a lot. And God bless you all, and God bless your investments.